2020. Isn't it weird how just the combination of numbers is now synonymous with all kinds of feelings and emotions? I mean, as a wedding cinematographer, it started out normally. Just after the new year, we watched another of our cherished former students come full circle and warm up the chilliest of early January days with the warmth and love that they have for each other. Erica and Nate's wedding had it all. And then, in February, Megan and Joe planned everything perfectly, and their wedding was an incredible day and night. But at that same time, there was a talk on the news. Something was stirring. A virus. We even joked about it and scoffed that it would never have an effect on the wedding industry. So, we continued. 1 week later, pure magic and all the bells and whistles for Danielle and Anthony. Not that we count this kind of stuff, but this was something like our 8th Eagle cheerleader wedding. And every one of them is always the biggest and glitziest of parties. But on top of that, with Danielle and Anthony, we continued to find that look. See, that's the real magic. Not the party, but that look. The look of love and subtle things that couples in love show each other on their wedding day.
Mr. and Mrs. Anthony Del
Then we hit March. By this time, the impending storm of COVID was here. And ironically, one of the first cases in our region was in New Jersey. So where did we film that week? Yep, you guessed it, New Jersey. Michelle and Chris's wedding was the third for us in this family's string. And seeing all of our brides from over the years is so much fun. This one had it all too. And even though we all talked about this COVID thing, we danced until the very last note with one of our favorite bands, the Heartbeats. Little did we know, just 1 week later, the beats and everything else would stop.
This is Jordan the situation with this virus doesn't discriminate. It attacks everyone.
Schools and universities.
The quarantine had begun. Everything was shut down. And for wedding vendors, well, those were interesting days. However, to stay sharp, my daughter stepped up to help. Barbie and the girls got ready so I could practice my prep shots. And the guys, they threw the ball around. And, of course, we still did the flying V shot. About 2 months went by, and during quarantine, we prayed and reflected, and then prayed and reflected again, and again, and again. Well, you remember how quarantine was. But part of that reflection helped us create something new for our couples. Call them micros, minis, or bougies, whatever that means. We fired up the cameras again in May, and the 2020 wedding season was rolling again. We worked with couples to give them everything they expected, and many times that meant doing both video and photos at the same time. Steph and Matt did it all in their backyard, but we still captured those genuine looks of love again and created something amazing at the same time. Christine and Andrew had us all crying in June when they expressed some of the most beautiful vows, not only to each other, but also to their son.
I've always had a hole in my heart that I never knew how to fill until I met you. You make me feel complete, and I couldn't imagine spending the rest of my life with anyone but you. When I promised Mommy that I would be there for her no matter what, God has a plan for our family. That means I promise you the same. I promise to always be by your side through whatever life has in store for you. I promise if you ever need anything from just a shoulder to cry on, or for me to just explain something to you that just doesn't make sense, I promise to teach you everything that I've learned in life so you don't make the same mistakes that I did. And trust me, you'll want to pay attention.
A few weeks later, we got to go back to the farm, bakery and events. Man, I love filming and photographing there. And Anna and Jared had us crying there too. Maybe it was just the fact that we were creating wedding films again, or maybe because people had just made it through quarantine together. No matter what, we just all seemed to realize how special it was to be around each other again. And this couple, well, they just had it. But we were back. We're creating love stories again. So in August, Mike and Brooklyn asked us to do photo and video for them too. And they made this backyard wedding glow with their love. And this was also their third wedding for this family. So it's always great to have referrals. So thanks to everybody for always choosing and trusting us to do that for them. Alyssa and Corey chose us for both photos and videos in one of our blended packages. And it was also the first time inside a wedding venue since March. And it showed. Everyone was ready to party again at this one. Kate and Kyle had a hot August day in New Hope, and when we edited their film, every shot just seemed to glow. Maybe that was metaphor, or maybe the time of day. Either way, this short wedding still had everything you could ever ask for as a couple. By September, things were pretty much back to the new normal. We were back in Center City, Philly, and the Cathedral, and the Art Museum with Elizabeth and Doug. Even with masks on, it felt so good to run up those steps again and feel that rush of navigating the city on a wedding day. They also chose one of our blended weddings, and we did it all for them in a big way from beginning to end. This was the 19th wedding and a very long string of referrals going back many years. Stay tuned, the 20th in that string is also coming up. A few weeks later, we had our first outdoor weather scare in this new reality, as Jessica and Joe tied the knot. Right after I do, God said, I can, and it poured. But then, just moments later, it was gorgeous. And by the end of the night, we were dancing under the stars. In October, Samantha and Dan gave their family and friends a sneak peek of what to expect in 2021. But their first half wedding set the stage for even more amazing moments to come. 2 weeks later, Carrie and Tim did the same thing, complete with a first look and a backyard affair. I actually did photo and video for this one as well, and here's to doing it all again in 2021. As the last 2 months of this storied year came around, it was all starting to look normal again, like real normal. Tiff and Mike started off November with an incredible wedding, and we had it all cinematically covered. From top to bottom. I mean, to top. Love the drone footage on this one. And even through the water fountain. The very next day, we did it all again. It was back to the city, capturing the incredible color and beauty of waterworks with a no-holds-barred blended wedding for Mike and Amanda. With 3D printed Star Wars helmets, legit lightsabers, and our drone pilot capturing it all from the air, we owned the night and the day on this Sunday in Philly. Just after Thanksgiving, we headed back to New Jersey to see our friends at Bergalia's. Their huge renovation project for outdoor weddings was a stunning backdrop for Kate and Tommy. We used that unmistakable late fall lighting to make it all pop, and then gave them all the feels as that glorious fountain backlit their genuine looks of love again and again. They say 3 times is the charm, and it was for Danielle and Ryan in late December. They changed their wedding plans 3 times. But when we went back to Normandy Farms for the wedding of another former student of ours, it was as amazing as always. We blended for them too, and gave this 4th wedding in their referral string spectacular film and photo. And after all the waiting, they finally had the wedding they dreamed of. Allison and Kyle were ready to say I do on December 30th, so we gave them all the attention to detail for their preps, the ceremony, and church shots afterwards, like any of our couples can expect. And the next day, a fitting end to 2020. The 20th wedding in our largest referral string. 20 different weddings, all going back to one wedding. Kelly and Dan chose us to have them capture their love story many years ago, and the referrals haven't stopped since. Friends of friends and family members to other family members, and many of them all came from this one young lady. Colleen was one of my first TV and film students, so when James asked her to marry him, all the wedding plans started, and she knew who to trust with her photos and videos. This was another micro bougie wedding on New Year's Eve, and part 2 will be even more amazing. 2020 was definitely one of the most memorable years for all set creations, but not for the reasons you think. We grew in more ways than we could have ever imagined and became more focused on telling love stories again. So, thanks to all of these special couples of 2020. You gave us hope when there was fear, faith when there was doubt, and love when we all needed to experience and feel it. 2021 and beyond, our couples will benefit from this time of reflection and creative energy. So, as we like to say, for the months and years ahead, let's create something together.